and welcome to the What Squirrel Speaks. Today is Wednesday, May 29th. This is episode 65, I think. If you're new, I'm sorry I'm not sorry. You don't know what to expect, so never mind. Usually I record on Mondays to upload on Tuesdays. But in the US, it was a whole day weekend and we were camping. And quite frankly, I needed a day to recuperate after my vacation. How are you? Today will be a brief episode because I'm gonna say it will be, and therefore it will be. Excuse me. We have lots of thanks yous, because we have many a new gift for the Orange Cow. What's up? Are you orange cowling with us? I think you are. The prize thread will be open through the last. No. Yes. It'll be open through the last Friday in June. No. Why did I say Friday? The last Monday in June, which I believe is like almost the last Monday, because the last Friday in June is my birthday. That's how I know, maybe, but I really don't. So you have through June to get done. Get done. There are oodles and oodles and oodles of awesome orangeness. The prize thread, yes, but the chatter thread also. I love you, orange. I love you people who love orange. I love you people who don't love orange but tolerate orange and maybe bought some because they didn't have any orange because they don't really like orange and therefore they had an excuse to buy some because they didn't have any orange in stash. Love you too. Orange is awesome. Okay, so I guess we'll do thank yous for the prize threads first. First, thank you in no particular order. Actually, this is the order in which they were received. The lovely Query Fibers sent me some yarn for you for a prize, and guess what? It's self-striping. Are you kidding me? I'm not even kidding you. It's a 10-stripe rainbow self-striping, which is 75% merino, 25% nylon, 463 yards. Look how pretty that is. Do you know how hard it is to give this to you? Because I don't think she watches the show, so I can be like, oh, but now I've told you. Well, I haven't released it yet. I have a decision to make. No, I really won't. But look how pretty that is. What? Get your stuff done. Get your stuff done. Second prize. Yeah. It's a prize avalanche. Diane at the Knotted Bag. You've seen her bags, right? Everywhere they're so fancy. She sent you an orange one. What's up? Is that pretty? Do you love that fabric or what? Both of her fabrics because she sent me one too. I'll show you in a bit. Awesome sauce. The sauce that is awesome. That's what it is. That's what you do. Thank you, Diane. And then there's one more. This is a spinning fiber gift. Do you see this? That's right, I just sniffed your yarn. Not your yarn, your fiber. I just sniffed it. I'm sniffing it again. This is from Three Waters Farm, and she sent this very clever thing for you, too. ThreeWatersFarm.com. She sent you a wraps for inch gauge. And look how fancy this is if you're all technical with your face. She sent you like an S and Z twist doohickey with the angle, and you can figure out how many twisty twos to the thing. It's like a yarn protractor, yo. That's exciting. How much do you love protractors? So cool. Anyway, what's up with that? So, yeah, I will open a different prize thread for this one instead of just putting in with the orange cow. I kind of went back and forth about how to do that because I would hate for this lovely, I mean, it's so pretty. It's BFL in the sorbet colorway. And it's just so smooshy and wonderful. And like a happy mustachio. Or a sad mustachio that makes you happy. But I struggled whether to like actually just do this with the regular prizes. I think I will leave the thread open and we'll do the prizes all at the same time. But we will make a special orange I know, but you guys are in it with me. So even though I say we and then I sound ridiculous, I really do mean we. We will make like a special orange inspiration thread if you want to win the fiber. And I think I'll have you like post a happy orange time picture. How's that? That sound good? That's what I'm gonna do, I think. Okay, okay. Shenanigans. There were so many shenanigans. We went camping. It was shenanigan-tastic. I love camping. I'm such a nerd. But you know what? When I was a little girl, I had this realization actually this weekend. Because until like 3 years ago, I had never even been camping. But I had fueled an entire camping fantasy off the Cabela's and Bass Pro catalogs that my grandparents always had in their house. Did you do that? Did your grandparents have those? My grandfather is a hardcore fisherman. And I mean hardcore in that he fishes, but we eat fish. We don't throw them away or anything or hurt them. We eat them. But every summer when I was a little girl, we would go to Lake Erie and stay on Middle Bass Island, which back then had nothing on it but people who were like hardcore fishermen and a random winery, whatever. Um, but we go there every year. And basically, I had this realization. I was like, why do I think I love to camp out so much when I never camped out? It's because we basically camped out. There was a cabin on the lake, like on the, but it was like a fisherman's cabin, which is like no frills. There was electricity. There was running water. You couldn't drink the running water because it was straight out of the lake. I'm pretty sure there was no water treatment facility. And this was like the early 80s. So, or the 80s. I'm pretty sure it was just straight up out of the lake water because you could not drink it. And like there was no air conditioning, there was no TV, there was nothing. So it was a cabin, but it was like camping. And you couldn't buy anything on the island. Like there was nothing there. There was one telephone that you could use at the dock. I'm sure that there were residents who had phones, but again, public phone wise, there's only one. And there's no phone in the cabin. Psh, it's gonna be crazy. And so you had to take my poor grandmother. Any sort of her craziness is totally excusable because they would go camping for like, or they would go fishing for like 6 weeks at a time. And you had to take everything you needed for 6 weeks. Everything. Plus the fishing gear and everything. And they had like a Ford truck with the cab on it. Not the cab, what's that called? You know, the back thingy. And like they would make me a little nest in there. Oh my gosh, it was so exciting. And so they would make me, like, they would pack the whole thing. And by the way, how much, I mean, as an adult, I'm like, I can't believe they made me so much room to sleep in. I would have been like, just hold on to the luggage rack, kid. So they like pushed, and then they would make me this little narrow bed, like right at the gate of the truck. Because they would leave at like, because he had to always get the first ferry, because my grandfather's crazy. So he had to get there at like 8 a.m., first ferry. So we had to leave at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So they would make me a little bed back there, dope me up with some Dramamine, put me in there. So awesome. I feel kind of sorry for the youth of today that never get to ride in the back of a pickup truck. Now that had a cab on it, so it wasn't like, but I've done the other thing too, and you know you have too. Just sitting up in the back of a pickup truck, wind in your hair, being a kid. So I do feel kind of sorry for them that they don't get that experience. Sorry, this is all crazy. Anyway, so what am I even talking about? This is gonna be a short episode. So I want to talk for 25 minutes about nothing. So we went camping. All my Cabela's and Bass Pro fantasies have come to life. We've gone camping as adults now. But we had a great time. It was lovely. It always is. I can't tell you all the shenanigans because it would be an 80-hour episode and that would be ridiculous. We did camp at a Monroe Lake, which is like a man-made reservoir. But our campsites, because we're tent campers. By the way, RV campers, y'all are nuts. We were driving through the campsite. The way this one is set up is that like it has these weird tent loops. Everything else is electric. So everything else is like, there are still tents, but most of it's RVs and such. But then there are these tent loops that you have to kind of hike into. And when I say hike, I mean like 60 to 100 feet, not hike, walk. But they're not electric just because of, I'm sure there was like logistical issues. So we were in one of those. And by the way, my nose is still sunburnt. So I'm not an alcoholic overnight, but maybe I am. So we were in one of those loops. So we were driving through the campground and I was like, because we've never been to this campground before. And we were driving through and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're like sardines in there. I'm like, this is going to be awful. I'm holding out hope because I know that this loop is special and magical, right? And I looked at the pictures and it looked fine. But we're driving through and there's like satellite dishes. We've never been to camping at a big lake or anything. So like everybody has this giant RV and a giant boat and satellite dishes. What? I'm like looking at my husband like, I mean, I'm usually pretty okay with like our lot in life. Don't bemoan our poverty too much. We're driving this campground, and I'm like, what are we doing wrong? We don't have a billion dollars to spend on these things. But anyway, so I'm a little bit nervous, but we get into we pull up to our little area, and it is awesome. It is completely like shoot away, and we hike in, and then we can like hike down to the beach. I mean walk. I'm just exaggerating for fun. We walked down, so the kids spent all weekend. The playground was a half a mile away, so that did not work well. But the beach playground, way more awesome, and there were not as many kids there. So they would just hike down to the beach and like play and gather rocks, and come back like an hour later and be like, I want some juice, and be like, there's a juice box, and they would go back down. It was awesome. By the end of it, my daughter had created a giant mound of rocks that she wanted to bring home, and by giant, I literally mean giant. Because I will give her this. The beach was full of agates, which are so awesome, and geodes. Because Indiana's weird. I gotta look up our geological stuff because it's nuts up in y'all. So like she had this whole mountain of like agates and geodes and weirdness. And I was like, so by the end, I kept telling her, you can't take all those rocks home. Like, that's just not cool. A, I don't want 50 pounds of rocks in my house because you're not, whatever, period. B, it's just not cool to take all that stuff out of nature because, hi, it's nature. So I'm like, at the end of the thing, I'm like, you can have one bag to take home of rocks. And she's like, I said Ziploc bag. She's like, oh, those little ones. She means like a sandwich bag. I'm like, no, you can have a gallon bag of, So I'm thinking gallon bag, put the rocks in, zip it up, bring it back home. That was not her idea. Her idea was to like Tetris them into the bag. So there was like no visible airspace at all. Like she may be a spatial genius, I'm not sure. And then to like proceed to leave the bag open and then mound them up. But she could still carry it. And she was so excited. I let her bring them home. I'm a bad person. DNR, don't come get me. She was so excited. And my husband, of course, is a total rock junkie too, so he was of no help. He was like, that's awesome. Oh, we had to make that kid a rock garden. Because right now she's got a rock newspaper in front of the television as she sorts and identifies. Nerds. Anyway, it was so fun. Yay! Camping. It was slightly miserable. And then the first night we were there, it was 45 degrees. Or I think secretly it was less than that. I'm not even lying. It was cold. And my dog, I was afraid to leave her in her crate because, and even my husband agreed, and he's, more old school than I am. He was like, I don't know if she'll be warm enough in there. I'm like, I know, right? So usually we crate her at night and she's fine. Doesn't make a ruckus. She's fine. So we didn't put her in her crate because I thought she'd sleep with one of us and try to keep warm. Well, my husband forgot to zip the tent or the tent door. So she almost, the second she heard a raccoon, she almost escaped into the wild to hunt them down. She jumps through the door. I'm like, ah! So then I had to proceed. She was so angry about the raccoons. I kept growling at them and pacing the tent. I had to like hold her down. I don't mean hold her down. Like was bad. But I had to like hold on to her to get her to relax enough to fall asleep. So it's 45 degrees in our tent. Less, I believe. I'm just saying. You can see your breath. I'm like holding the dog on my side with this arm over the dog to get her to relax enough. And I'm just laying there like, I cannot sleep in this position. My nose is freezing. It's like 3 hours. But then proceeded to feel fine. Because camping is awesome and magical. I was not one bit tired until we got in the car to come home. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm too tired. So it was awesome. And then it rained a lot. But we made it. And it was so fun anyway. Okay, now I'll talk about knitting. Our finished objects. First finished object is the spinning finished object. I think this color is showing up way green, which I don't understand at all. Prisms are scary. But this is my fiber from Godiva. It is a Falkland, and it's 2 different colorways, so it's 8 ounces applied together. And you can see I had much more of the blue left. So that's just the blue with the blue, which is very pretty. But then here's the brown with the blue. Like, whatever. I'm still tired, shush. It is so awesome. It is so springy, still in the skein. Yeah, that's a skein. It's still so springy. I like it. I love my ladybug. It smells good. It's nice and good, and all things good. It was lovely to work with. I'm not telling you the yardage because I did not count, because it's a lot. So, and I would say it's mostly fingering, occasionally sport, but mostly fingering. And it's mostly awesome. That's what it mostly is. I'm not even pretending. It's amazing. You guys can watch the show. Amazing. So yay that. Knitting finished objects. I finished my sockhead hat. I think I should wear it like that because that's super, super fly. I finished my sockhead hat. Yay! Yeah, everything is really green. What's going on? I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's the zipper? Whatever, it's fine. So this is my sockhead hat. This is out of Socks That Rock in the Kapow Patina colorway. And I'll show you, I have still quite a bit left. Yeah. I still have this much left. And I knit my brim on zeros because it basically gave you like a sock gauge to work with. So I knit my brim on zeros, but then proceeded to knit the top on twos because I was lazy. I have that much left still. I'm sorry, I'm going to just be obnoxious for a moment and just check my webcam options because something is really weird. No? Seems to be fine. So yeah, there's that. Yep. Super slouchy. Super fun. Oh, and this is the first time we've ever camped where it's been cold enough for knitwear, which was awesome. Not that I wore that much of it, but I was just rocking my little knit hats. All excited stuff. So that was cool. So yeah, that. And it turned out, it's very pretty. I really like this Socks That Rock. I originally bought it to do socks, but it's 100% merino, and I have feet made of metal. So, by the way, I got a terrible blister now. Sorry, I didn't mean to knock you. Second, it's almost finished. My Rebecca Danger, Xavier the Observant Owl. He needs a beak, but I don't have a clear plan for what that is yet. So he's chilling without a beak. Isn't he cute? Look at his little feet. How cool are his little feet? So he sits like that. Well, hi, what's up? And I just crocheted his little eyeballs on. I did just a circle. And then I embroidered with floss the middle of the circle. And then I stitched them down. As you can see over on this one especially. Not the best job. Whatever, it's an owl. It's for a baby, hush. From here it looks fine. So yay that! Just stuffed it with a fiber fill. Okay, works in progress. See this, I've wanted to buy this fabric for so long, and now I think I'm going to have to. This is the Tallulah pink fabric. Oh, gorgeous. It's so, and there's a blue version too. And I have looked at it, I don't know tell you how many times I've looked at it. Since we did the Crazy Cow with the Stockinette Zombies, I have looked at this fabric and been like, I love it, but will anybody else? But look how awesome it is. So thank you, Diane. It's so cool. So this is her spinning bag. So it's got the satiny lining. Of course, it's not a bag. Nope. And in that, oh, I didn't bring my bobbin over. Oh, I'm such a nerd. I have fiber. Look at that. Oh, isn't that pretty? Where's that fiber from, you say? Look at those beautiful colors and the shimmery goodness. And see how fluffy it is? Look at that nicely done fiber dyeing job. I wonder who could have done that. I wonder where that could have come from. Maybe from our oh man, that was a fail. Maybe this will work. Maybe from our awesome Sadie, who has a new shop called Knitter's Nightmare, which opens June 4th. Maybe that's where it's from. Maybe. So Sadie, our carnivore, has... I'm sorry, my autofocus off Sadie. I'm a fail. But her shop can be found at Knitters Nightmare, no apostrophe, knittersnightmare.com. Crazy cat lady in training. That's our Sadie. And this is her 100% BFL base. It's the Bump in the Night base. And it's Sunset on Gallifrey. And it is so pretty. She does like a smaller quantity. Mine was 2.8 ounces. And I'm so sorry I forgot to bring the bobbin because it's quite pretty, but I'll have it ready next week. And you can see how gorgeous it is just in time for her shop to open. I'm excited. She also sent me self-striping, which I need to finish my other striping sock so I can show you. But yeah, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. If you were worried, you know, because sometimes I'm always, well, I'm not sometimes. I'm always worried when I buy fiber from a dyer that I've never bought from. Not a new dyer, just any dyer I've never bought from. You're always nervous because the first time you get burnt, you're just like, But look at that. That is super fluffy, not at all felty beautifulness. Look at that. And it's not like I teased that out. I was just trying to measure. I was trying to divide the thing in half, and so I was weighing it. So I just went like this, and that's what happened. I didn't make it fancy on purpose. So, yay! And it's lovely to work with. Sadie is awesome. If you were in doubt, but of course you weren't, because you're not a fool. Yay! Look at that. I love this crazy fabric. I hope you don't think I'm copying the lovely Dianify. Maybe make some, because they're so awesome. Tallulah Pink. And my mother has met her, by the way. She's very nice, evidently. Who knew? Anyway, so there's that. That's my spinning work in progress. And I also have a spinning bag. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to kind of figure this out. Okay, we're good. Okay, I'll show you my socks right off the bat because I just talked about them. It's an Afterthought heel sock. I got one done. This is... Oh, did I even have the ball band? This was donated to me by a lovely person who wishes to remain anonymous, but it is Fiber and Dye Works self-striping in her bounce base in the Shot Through the Heart colorway. It's true. That's what it is. I'm so lucky. I would never be able to get this on my own, but somebody gave it to me. So there's one sock that's finished camping. By the way, my hat I totally finished while I was camping. I worked on my sock while I was camping. So it was so exciting. And so this is my second one. And I'm knitting on those on the Carbons double points in the size 00. Now I do start them on the regular double point, the 0 circulars for Magic Loop. I mean, yes, Magic Loop, but especially the Judy's Magic Cast On with double points. You can do it, but it's not fun. So I did start them. I did the toe like up to here-ish, and then went to the double points. And then I got these crazy things, which I forgot to put back on there last night because it was late. Look at these silly. I was so envious of, because I don't know. Sorry. I never knit with double points. Like, it's a rarity for sure. But I really like the fabric I'm getting on these very small double points. So I guess they're going to be my sock double points for a while until I can figure out how to tighten up my gauge or something. But I did have the trouble of I keep pulling my needles through like a dummy. So I got these. They're squirrels! So there's a little cord on there to keep them together. You can tell her you do or do not want that cord. But I thought I should because I would just lose them immediately, I'm pretty sure. So there they are. As a little squirrel. And it's like, I don't know, is it like I guess it's latex or something. It's some squishy rubberness. The only thing that's not, if you're OCD, don't get them. There is like a bit of a matte finish, and it does pick up lint. So, FYI. But that's just the nature of the material. Where did I get them, you ask? Well, this is where I got them. Of course, Etsy. Also known as my drug dealer. Exchangingfire.com, which will take you to our Etsy shop, I'm sure. So it's a place called Exchanging Fiber, and then she has lots of different ones, like a babillion different ones. So I also fell down though and got the foxes because they're orange and hi with the cuteness. There's ducks and chickens and horses and hippos and all sorts of insanity. Penguins, koalas, whatever. She's got it. It's a little disturbing because you do have to, but still cute as can be. So there's my socks. I don't know why I did that weird girly cough thing. And then the next thing I'll show you just very briefly is my Bellevue cardigan. Is it Lorena Chu? Am I making that up? It's something like that. I did my bust darts per Amy Herzog. There's a very short amount of them. I did them like every other row because the cardigan is so short. And I do well, whatever. My body's weird. So we'll see how they work. I'm almost ready to start the arms, but I'm not there yet because it requires thought. And, well, hello. I don't always have that available. So there's that. And it is knit with Quince and Company Finch in the nasturtium colorway. It's beautiful. I love it. This yarn's awesome. Makes me happy. It's so round. It's awesome. And that is all. Yes. That's all. That's all. Okay, so I apologize again for the lateness this week. I will try my best to record next week on time. There will be a shop update, which I will show you a preview for next time. The shop update will be the first Friday in June at 9 p.m. Eastern. There will be a bag update the third Friday in June at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's all the right stuff. I will be at the Hoosier Hills Fiber Festival Saturday, June 1st, I believe. So if you see me there, say hi. By the way, definitely say hi. This is why. Okay. So when we were camping there was also a swimming beach that we got to go to. By the way, I thought it was going to be so crowded. It was not crowded at all because it was the game day, the race day. So everybody was at home watching their satellite TVs. Yay. But this is what happens when, okay, so this is your monologue. When you see somebody that you think is a podcaster or whoever, in your head you're like, is that Laura Linneman? I think that's Laura Linneman. But she's not on the TV. She's in the world. And she's not at her house, which I don't know where that is, but she's not anywhere where she said she would be. But I think that's her, but that can't be her because that would be such a weird coincidence. And she's not wearing clothes. She's wearing like sunglasses and a bath towel because she's swimming. What is that? I think that might be her, but that would be just too weird. Do you think that's her? To your friend. Do you think that's her? I don't know who that is. I don't watch podcasts because I'm not crazy. And then you have like this whole thing. This is what we see. It's awkward. I had a woman visibly stare at me for like 3 minutes when I was at the beach. And I don't think she was a podcast fan. I think she was just staring at me because I'm me and I'm weird looking or something. But it made me remember how awkward that is. So if you do see us, don't stare at us. Just say hi. And it's like anybody, because that could be like somebody you knew in high school or something, And again, they're not in their context in which you know them, so you get all confused. And in your mind, you're completely being innocent. I know I've done it. You're being completely innocent in your mind, but the outward appearance is like, I'm like, do I have something on me? I was wearing a bathing suit, like a tank and shorts, but I had a towel around me, so I wasn't even like, normally I would be like, she's just staring at me because I'm too fat for a bathing suit. Hush up. That's normal, but I was completely covered, so I was just like, why is she staring at me? And it made me all super self-conscious. But it wasn't a fan. It was just somebody who was staring at me for some reason that I don't know. Maybe because I carry a parrot on my shoulder. Anyway, that was a total rant. I'm sorry, the end. I hope you have a lovely week. And I will see you next time. Bye. Maybe. Bye.